So it says the Gemara, Boker Tov, Gemara Masechet Sotah Daf Mem Hey Amud Aleph 45a1. Says the Gemara, we are right on the second line where it says Ela Me'ata. Ela Me'ata. So now we're going to come and we're going to make the drashot of Zekenecha v'Shofetecha. So we wanted to say that there was a machloket, is Zekenecha two, right? And therefore the Shofetecha just means that they have to be the best dayanim, and therefore, right, when it says two, it can never be a bedin of two, so you need three. So therefore, that's why it cannot be shakul, so you need three, so it's three. Or Zekenecha is two, Shofetecha is two, 2 plus 2 is 4, and therefore since it cannot be equal, it cannot be shakul, so therefore you need 5. So the Gemara says, if you're going to tell me that that's the explanation, v'yatzeu, it says that they also go out. That should be another 2. Umadedu, they measure, that's another 2, right? So therefore, right, according to so that's another 4. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, that he said that you needed 5 dayanim, now becomes 9, right? And according to Rabbi Shimon, that he says you need 3 dayanim, now you have 7 dayanim. So the Gemara answers, no, those words are needed, that which we learned in the Braita, v'yatzeu. What does it mean, v'yatzeu? Hen velo shluchehen, meaning that they themselves have to go out and do it. They cannot send a shaliach to do it. They themselves have to go out and do this. Umadedu, they're going to measure. Shafilu nimtza ba'alil la'ir, because even if you're going to come and he's going to be revealed to anybody that's in the city, right? More hayu modadin, they would still come and they would still, meaning that everyone would say, what? For sure he's closest to the city. They would still measure him. But you have to measure it, right? They would still measure it. Shemitzvah la'asok b'medidah. There's a mitzvah to measure. Even though you already know, there's nothing what to measure. It's right here. You know it's here. Mitzvah. Go measure. Okay? So matznitin, the local Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. So obviously our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. The Tanya was going to the Braita, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, or Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says Zekenecha is the Sanhedrin, and Shofetecha is Melech with Kohen Gadol. So therefore it comes out that according to this, right, it didn't mention the entire concept of the Melech and Kohen Gadol, that they have to be present at the Medidah, which means that according to them, the Sanhedrin Gdolin and the Melech and Kohen Gadol have to be present at that time. Melech tichtiv melech b'mishpat yamid eretz. Kohen Gadol tichtiv v'ata lekolim anavim shofet asher yeh. Which means that you see from here that since it's written, right, the shofet, like shofetim, by also the Kohanim Levim, which is the Kohen Gadol, and also by the Melech. So therefore that's what it refers to. So we're going to ask a question of Eliezer ben Yaakov, b'melech leKohen Gadol u'depalik aval sanedre, right? To do the Melech and Kohen Gadol, that's a machloket. Do they have to also come out to the measurements or not? Aval Sanhedrin, but to do the Sanhedrin Gedolah, ik Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, svirle. Do they hold like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon, which means that they need 5 dayanim or 3 dayanim? Or Dilmar, maybe b'Sanhedrin nami palik, there's a machloket in them, adika, that you need the entire Sanhedrin there. There's something incredible. Imagine right now you would have to have the entire Sanhedrin coming. 17. Yeah, and being there at the time, present at the time of the measuring. Okay? So then it says, Amar of Yosef says of Yosef, Tashma, we're going to try to bring a proof. Mitza'an zaken mamre. What happens right now if they found that the Dayanis and the Gedolah are going to be zaken mamre? Abe page, right, within the outer walls of Yerushalayim, which is called Bet Page. Yeah? Vehimra alehen. And then he went and rebelled. Yacholte, I would have thought it was going to be considered a hamna'ah. Tamulomar vekamta ve'alita al-makom melamed she'amakom gorem. It has to be dafka in lishkat hakazit. Meaning the din of Zaken Mamre, which is basically this elder that goes against the entire rest of the Sanhedrin, this is only going to be when they're in Lishkat HaGazit. If they're not in Lishkat HaGazit, there's no din of Zaken Mamre. Okay, the elder which is like a bit rebellious. Okay, Dinafuk Kama. So says the Sanhedrin, they came out of Lishkat HaGazit, but how many did come out? If you're going to tell me Dinafuk Mitzad, only a few of them came out, Dilma Hanach Tika Gavai Kvatesverle. Maybe you're going to say that the dayanim which are found on the inside, they hold like him. So therefore, right, we're not going to say that it's a makom gorem. Really, be'emet, everybody went out. So the fact that the entire Sanhedrin left the Lishkat HaKazit to go to Bepage, so that's what we had to learn from this pasuk, that the makom gorem. Ulmai. So why is it that they left the Lishkat HaKazit? Remember, in the Bet HaMikdash, they had a certain place for the Sanhedrin Gedolah to be together, like to reside and to come and to do their judgments. What are they going to leave? If they just went out stam for no reason, right? So he comes and he says, "Mimatsu nafke." Can you actually go out? So if they went out for a Dvar shoot, are they allowed to go out for stam for no reason from the Shkata Gazit and start judging? B'aktiv it's written, "Shorerecha gan asar al yechsar mazeg." Sheim nitzach chacham leminset. If one of them goes al Shkata Gazitim, yesham 23, as long as it's going to be 23, which is connected to the Ketana, Yotzei, he's allowed to go out. Even if not, then Yotzei, elapshita, but rather it has to be that they went out for a Dvar mitzvah. So Lamai, what type of mitzvah? Lav lemdidat eglar. We're not talking about that they went out to measure the eglar ufa. And this is going according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, right? So it means it has to be that they went out for the Eglar Ufa. This is a proof that even the Sunday didn't have to go for the Eglar Ufa. And so the Gemara Abai says, no. Dilma leosif alayir v'alazarot. Really, they went out to start adding on the city in the Azarot. As we learned in the Mishnah and Sanhedrin, meaning you're never allowed to add on. Here we're talking about you want to expand the city boundaries. So you can never expand the city boundaries without Sanhedrin and Gdolah. Okay? Fine. So we learned in a bright and according to Rav Yosef. I would have thought to say that it's going to be like Zakem Ramret, okay. Nekuda. These are two dots. Okay? If you found the deceased person, that he was buried underneath some stones, or he was hanging on a tree, they wouldn't do a glarufa, as they learn from the Psukim. So maybe we're going to say that our Mishnah is like Rabbi Yehuda, not like Rabbanan. The time is we learned in the Braita, omer basadeh, and you're going to forget omer basadeh, prat letamun. When it says you're going to forget the omer in the sadeh, so therefore that's coming to exclude if it's buried. It's coming to include something which is hidden, which is buried. It's also part of the mitzvah. Okay, but that's the entire question about Ba'adama. So therefore, obviously, our Mishnah is like Rabbi Yehuda, not like Chachamim. So answers the Gemara. Amar Rav says, Afilu Tema Rabbanan, even if you can tell me it's Rabbanan, Hacha me'anyane dekra, hata me'anyane dekra. Each one has to do with the pasuk. Okay? Hacha me'anyane dekra, dichtiv ki matzeh halal, hecha de mishtakach, right? Ba'adama. When it says wherever you're going to find him in Badama comes to exclude if he's going to be buried. The hatamin in the crab, but there has to do with the pasuk. Tichtiv says the pasuk. The forgetting is compared to the katzid, the harvesting. Just like the harvesting has to be something which is revealed, so to the forgetting has to be something revealed. So why does it say that you forgot in the field? That means to do a shikha. Even if it's going to be hidden, still, it's considered shikha. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, Nami Tepul Shikha did it. So why doesn't Rabbi Yehuda do the same thing? Say shikha is compared to katzid. So says the Gemara, Inachanami, you're right. So why do I need the word basadeh? It comes to include shikhat kama. Okay, which means you're going to forget. So he comes and he says, Rabbanan shikha kama menale. How do you know? So nafkalehu, he learns it from kitzizkot sor kitzirecha betzadecha v'shachachta. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda, and according to Rabbi Yehuda Elmaleh, he needs it for the Rabbi Yavu Amar Rabbi Lazar. Tamar Rabbi Yavu Amar Rabbi Lazar prat leshetzafu umarim letoch sadeh chavero. We're talking about that it's excluding shikha, right, which is going to be inside the field of your friend. Rabbanan, and according to Rabbanan, misadecha besadecha. What does that mean? The Chachamim are learning this from the Tur, from your field, Rabbi Yehuda, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, besadecha lo masha. He doesn't hold of besadecha from the field, your field. He doesn't like the fact that, because you have the extra chaf or whatever it is, now you're changing all the explanation. So by Rabbi Yirmiyah comes and he asks the following question: Tzafu umarim letoch sadeu. What happens if all of a sudden, right? That means he didn't land on the karka, on something else, and you forgot, right? So what's halacha? Avir sadeh, so do we say the airspace? Right, that means basically it didn't fall on the floor. It fell on something which is in the middle of the air. So do we say that the airspace is considered like the field or not? So Amaleh of Kana of Papi, Amaleh of Kana of Zvi, Tiv Sholeh. Why don't we actually bring a proof from Rabbi Yavu Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar, that he says, Prat l'shitzafu umarim. We're talking about the coming to exclude the din of shikha, right? That it's letoch sadeh chavero inside the field of his friend. The chavero in letoch sadeh lo, only of his friend, yes, but not of his fields. Litamech, according to reasoning, letoch sadeh chavero, right? Safu in, right? Or lo, Munachin lo, which means that it's only going to be if it's going to be tzafu, right? Then yes, but if it's going to be placed on the ground, it's not going to be patur. At the end of the day, it needs to be your field. So how do I say besadecha if it's not besadecha, even if it's on the ground? Because it's in your friend's field, it's not in your field. So if it goes into your friend's field, and even if it's landing and it's going to be there, it's sinning. What does that mean? But rather, it's going to be bitzafu. So Tashema, we're going to come and we're going to bring a proof, right, where it comes and it says as follows: Omer shechzik bo lo lichol la'id v'nichol gabe chavero u'shacho. What happens if you have omer, right? That he was taking it to the city and he placed it in his friend's field and then he forgot it over there. Hatachton shikha v'elyon shikha. Only the bottom part is what you forgot, the top part not. Mishumon Yudah says it's not shikha. Hatachton because it's considered tamun. It's like buried underneath the top part, and the top part because it's lying on top of the bottom part. You understand? It's a good trick. The top part is lying on top of it. It's not directly on the field, so it's exempt. And the bottom part is buried because there's something on top of it. So therefore, it's considered. So akan lo pligi ela betachton. Aval be'elyon according to everybody, the top part is not going to be shikha. That's according to everybody. It's only the bottom part which is going to be a machloket, whether it's shikha or not. So says the Gemara, it's different over there. From the fact that he was going to be machzik in it to take it to the city, he was already zoche. So yihachi means he grabbed. The second that he grabbed it, he was already. It's his already. So says the Gemara, yachiv. So my ideal gabe chavero. What do I need on top of his friend? Afilu b'sadeh nami, even in the fields. So says the Gemara, nachanam, you're right. V'haydek tanya gabe chavero mishum tachton. With that which we learned to gabe chavero is because of the bottom one. So ask the Gemara, v'hami p'neshu tzaf kama. I thought it's written because he's tzaf, because it's floating. So Ema, you have to say mi p'neshu ketzaf. It's because he's like floating. So Amar Abaye comes and he says, Hadeni ke Ben Azai b'shukei Tveria. He says, if I'm going to be like Ben Azai in the shukei Tveria, Amale umid Rabbanan. What does that mean? That means basically he's going to come, right? I'm right now in Pumpadita, but I could answer everything like Ben Azai in the shuk of Tveria. So they came and they told him, right? What happens if you have two deceased people, one on top of each other? Where do they come start? Taking the measurements. That's quite right. Min b'mino havu tamun. Do we say since it's the same type of species because it's one body on top of another body? Meaning people came and they murdered two people. There's one on top of the other. So do you say min b'mino havi tamun? It's considered like it was buried, or min b'mino havi tzaf and it's not considered tzaf. Ume elyon model, and therefore you're going to come and you're going to only do it from the top one. Or Dima, maybe the opposite. Min b'mino havi tzaf. It's considered tzaf. It's not considered tamun. Meaning tachton moded, you're going to measure it for the bottom. Or dinar, maybe mimino vitamun, mimino havitzaf, right? Velo mina tachton moded, right? Velo me'elyon moded, and you're not going to come and you're not going to measure it from the bottom. And you're not going to measure it from the top. So Elmaleh comes and he says, Memhei amud bet, yeah, tinitua. We already learned it. Where do we learn it? Omer shechzik bolo lichol ha'ir v'nichol gabe chavero. Shechon, you forgot it. So we talk about now the omer. Right? Atachton shikha, the bottom one is shikha, and the top one is not shikha. Shimon ben Yudah says the name of Shimon. Both of them are not shikha. Hatachton because it's tamun, and Elyon neshu tzaf. So Savurua, we thought that the Hani Tanai and Rabbi Yehuda, that these actually hold like Rabbi Yehuda. That when it says basadeh, it's coming to exclude tamun. By Maila Bakami Pageh, we're not arguing on this. The more of our miminovi tamun, most of our lovi tamun that it's not considered tamun. So answers Gemara, lo, it's not true. Ik Rabbi Yehuda Sfileh, if they hold like Rabbi Yehuda. That according to everybody, it's considered tamun. And here the machlok is that which they argue between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan. The Rabbanan ke Rabbanan, because the rabbis hold like Rabbanan, and Shimon ben Yudah, they hold like Rabbi Yehuda. So Yahachi, if so, my India. So what are we dealing with then? Al gabe chavero. As afilu be'afar u'tzorot nami. Even if it's going to be afar and tzorot, also the same halacha applies. So it says, you're right. No, Rabbi Yehuda, to teach you the koach of Rabbi Yehuda, the amount if he says, if you know, it's going to be considered tamun. Okay, fine. Next, Tana Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. Halal velo chanuk. Yeah, what does that mean? That means basically when it says that somebody, the people of the city, they found a deceased person right outside of the city, it means that he's a halal, but not that he was strangled to death. If he was strangled to death, it's a different halacha. There's no eglarufa. That's what it says. Halal velo chanuk. Yeah, halal Velo meparper. Meparper means that he's still alive. Yeah, that means he's still alive. He's like moving his body still all around, right? But he's still alive. Yeah, next. Badama velo betamun gal. So it's badama, in order that it's going to be tamun bagal. It's not buried underneath a pile of stones. Nofel velo talui beilan. When it's falling, but not that it's going to be on the tree. Basadeh velo tzaf al penei hamayim. It has to be in the field and on the water, floating in the water. Rabbi Lazar comes and he says, he says, no, I apologize. If he was going to be killed, right, by a kli barzel, you still do a glarufa. It doesn't matter whether he's going to be meparper or buried under stones or hanging or floating. If he was killed by the sword, it's halal. So Tani will enter Rabbi Amar Yosef Amrulo Rabbi Lazar. Well, you don't agree that if he's going to be strangled and he's going to be placed in the garbage bin, that you're not going to come and you're not going to do a glarupa? Alma, so you see from here, halal velo chanuk. There has to be halal and not chanuk. So says, you're right. Ba'adama velo tamun bigal, nofel velo tole bilan, basadeh velo tzava gabi hamayim. Rabbi Lazar, according to Rabbi Lazar, halal yiteraktiv. There's an extra word halal. So the fact that there's an extra word of halal, right, it's actually a little bit different. Okay? Fine. Nimsa samuch l'sfar. 2 dots. What happens if he was found close to the city borders? Or the majority of the city are goyim. So obviously you're not going to do ekelarufa. Which means it's only in a place where you're going to find, but not if a person lives on a city borders, they know that they're going to be, meaning that they're living in line of fire, as they say. You understand? So he comes and he says like this: we're talking about, or that there was a city that doesn't have a bedin. The bayinam was we need ziknei ha'ir, the elders of the city. We don't have that. Emod din ela leir. Pshita, it's obvious. Given the tana leir shem ba bedin, ana yedan el modin leir sheish ba bedin. If you just told me there has to be there's a bedin, so you have to have a bedin. Hakmashmalan comes teaching the Tanya minayin she'im nimsa samuch leir shem ba bedin shemanichin otam modin leir sheish ba bedin. How do we know that we just leave it until the next bedin? Which means that they're going to come, they're going to start doing it, even if there's another city that's closer, but they do not have a bedin. Fine. Mishnah memheamul bet. What is it? It's exactly the equal distance between 2 cities. So both of them are going to bring a glarufa. These words are Eliezer. But Yerushalayim does not bring it. But what happens if the head is in one part and the body is in another part? You put the head by the body. These words are Eliezer. But Kiva says no. Haguf to the, which means which is the most important part, the head or the body? Okay. Me'ayin, right? When we're talking about now, me'ayin ayomoddim, where are they going to come and they're going to start measuring? Eliezer from his belly button, the middle of his belly button. The Rabbi Akiva from the nose. Eliezer ben Yaakov says from the neck, because that's where he became the halal. Yes, exactly. Where are they coming? They're starting to do the measurements. Fine. Says the Gemara. My time, what's the reason of Eliezer to say that 2 cities have to bring a glarufa? Kasav Hechal and Samsem, because he holds that you could actually be mechaven, and therefore krovav afilu krovot. When it says krova, it means even if it's going to be krovot. So therefore, 2 cities could come and bring it. Then Yerushalayim will not bring a glarufa. Meaning that it has to be that you have a city which could be divided by different people. Here, the city cannot be divided by different people because we're talking about Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was not given to any tribe. Yerushalayim belongs to everybody. So therefore, nobody has like one thing over anybody else to do with Yerushalayim. Next, in the 2 dots, the Mishnah we said in once you find his head in one place. What is machloket? If you're going to tell me now to do with measuring, the fact that we learned in the Sefer where they measure it, so obviously we're not talking about that in the Reisha. We're talking about the mitzvah that he acquires his own place. The Haki, this is what it means. That means basically a mitzvah, he acquires his place. What happens if you have his head in one place and the body in another place? So therefore we're going to do it where the body is. Okay, these are the words of Eliezer. And Rabbi says, no, we go after the head. What is the machlok between them? More savar gufei v'duchte nafil reisha denad nafil. So one of them holds that the body falls, and the head is the thing which is moving, right? Umor savar reisha echad nafil, wherever the head falls, and the body is the one which is running. Okay, fine. Next, me'ayin. Right? What are you talking about now? From which part of the Evan, which part of the body do they start measuring? What is the machloket? More savari kar chiyuta be'apeh. One of them holds that the entire thing is in the breathing of the air. So therefore it's going to be the head. The other one says no, it's in the belly button. Because that's where the mazon goes to the entire body. It goes from the belly button. Okay? Lema kiani tonight, why don't we just say that it like this machloket tanaim? Mehechan avla notzar, from where is the child going to be created? Mirosho. Right? No, meaning where does the child, the fetus, start growing? From its head. So he comes and he says, Abashul says no, from its belly button. And then it continues growing. It's a very interesting thing. I don't know how, you know how it is. So says the Gemara, Filu tema Bashul, if you're going to tell me it's a Bashul, when did Bashul say this? Only Yitzira, the way that it's formed. According to him, it's going to be notzar from the middle of the body. But to do with how is a person living, everybody holds that it's in the face. It's in the face. Fine. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, what's the reason Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov? It's the halal. It's on the tzavar. It's on the neck, because that's the place where it becomes a halal. Remember, usually the way they used to kill people was like ISIS style, which is basically from the head. Okay, fine. Next, Mishnah. It says here, what happens if the Ziknei Yerushalayim passed away? Right, and then they left. Or then so it says over here, they used to bring an eglat bakar, which they never worked. But it doesn't matter about mum. Meaning you could bring an animal that has a blemish. Obviously for anything else, no, but for this, you could bring, it doesn't matter if it has a blemish, but you couldn't work it. You cannot work it. You cannot make it work. When it says now itan kemashmao, right? That means like strong, no, like the kashe, which is hard. Even if it's not going to be hard, it's still going to be kosher. For finota, they're going to come. They're going to cut off its neck with a big knife, like a butcher's knife from the back. Meaning that's how they cut it off, with the butcher's knife on the back. And then it says umekoma asur milizrom levo. Wherever you're going to do iglarufa, you're not allowed to come and you're not allowed to plant or work. But you're allowed to come and you're allowed to comb the flax or to clean the stones. They used to wash their hands with water in the place of the gerufa, and they used to say, we didn't spill this blood and we never saw it. We actually thought that the Ziknei Bedin, they were the ones that they were murderers, right? We didn't come and we didn't exempt him. And we didn't come and we didn't send them away without being accompanied. Okay, let's just finish the Mishnah and Vamud Aleph. And then the Kohanim come and they say, right? We don't need to say El Ruach HaKodesh is the one that used to say, when you guys do this order, so then the blood is going to be an atonement for you. We said the Gemara on Sunday.